Hi guys, so this is Efficiency is Everything's first video, and I'm Michael Kirk. I'm here with Mrs. Efficiency, Mandy, and we're going to go over one of her favorite recipes.
Yeah, we're making Thai fried rice today. Before we started making our own recipes, I was probably eating out Thai food 2 to 3 times a week, which gets really expensive. It adds up quick. So once we developed our own recipe for Thai fried rice, we modified it a little bit to make it our own. I became addicted, and now I'm eating that 2 to 3 times a week instead. Much cheaper option. It's delicious for dinners, delicious for leftovers, and it's really quick to make.
Yeah, and it's very versatile. We're going to just throw in a bunch of vegetables, and it's going to taste great. We're going to add things that taste good, and it's high protein per dollar, high calorie per dollar, and we throw in a bunch of veggies as well. So we'll go through that. This being our first video, we're learning the ropes, so it's going to be a little bit longer, but there's going to be a lot of tips in here. There's a lot of good information. Definitely, I think worth the time. So I hope you enjoy. We got our chicken, which is around 50 grams of protein per dollar, and we got some eggs, which is around 30 grams of protein per dollar, and also very high nutrients per dollar. We got our frozen peas and carrots, convenience food. But I'm not sure of another way to get peas without it being in a can, and canned foods are definitely not that great nutrient per dollar. We have rice. We pre-made this maybe, what, an hour ago?
Yeah.
And the goal with this rice is just get it kind of to room temperature or cold. If we make like a stir fry, just the rice is a better texture if it's already cooled down. If it's hot, it's just a little bit mushier. We got some onions and a lemon.
That's everything. Let's get started.
Alright, so we're going to get started on chicken. So over here, you'll see I have kind of like a lazy way I trim the fat off the chicken. Just go around the whole outside. Just kind of show you on all of these. So I start over here, cut in, cut down. There's like a break point.
We end up using the chicken fat for other recipes anyways, so it's not really a waste. It's just efficient. Saves time.
Yeah, so you'll just get, I mean, there's a lot of meat on here. So what we'll do is we'll have a slow cooker recipe, and we'll take this spare chicken, we'll freeze it, and I mean, because you can see there's plenty of meat on there, and that fat will all render down and just kind of delicious. So you can see how quick this cuts it. Now throwing this away, I would feel really bad about wasting all this meat, but we'll be consuming that at some point. And just as simple as
a good knife is pretty important for cutting chicken, right?
Yeah, and we have a knife hone that we'll use before we begin chopping, and that'll keep the knife nice and sharp. So I'm a big fan of using bowls. It's an extra thing to clean, but it'll keep the board nice and clear.
Fingers curled under for quick knife cutting without trying to lose one.
Yeah, so that's something I've learned over the years. I've read a lot of mom blogs and been on cooking boards, and one of the things I've learned is you take your fingers and you curl it, and watch out for your thumb. You curl it and you won't cut yourself. Worst case, you hit your knuckles. So. And then for knife technique, really doing this what would you say, an arch?
Rocking.
Yeah, rocking back and forth.
So I probably would have done this a little differently than him. I think I would have cut the green onions first, because once you cut chicken on a cutting board, that's pretty much good game for that cutting board.
What do you think the food safety of that is? It's all going to be really hot in a minute, all in a hot pan.
Yeah, I don't know. I just always get a little nervous. But hey, I don't mind.
Alright, so we got our chicken done.
4 breasts worth. So if you guys aren't a bodybuilder, you might get away with 2 breasts and still have leftovers. So we'll cut up the green onion and we'll get cooking. Just going through how easy this is. We just picked a protein, and that was chicken because it was a high protein per dollar item. You could get away with using low-cost pork, potentially ground beef, load up on eggs. Milk's very high protein per dollar. The big deal here is just incorporating some of these high protein per dollar foods every day. And there's enough variety that we don't get sick of any. This is just vegetables, cutting some flavor up. If you put any vegetable in, from carrots to, what vegetables do you like?
Sometimes we add like kale and stuff.
Yeah, we'll do kale, spinach. Do we have any of that today?
We don't.
I think we ate all of that in our
last recipe.
Yeah.
We used up all the kale. Sometimes we just do peas as a veggie. That's what our original recipe called for. But we like to add a little bit of carrots. Why not? Add some more flavor.
So at this point, everything's cut up.
We like to save our veggie ends too, so we're gonna save those and put them in a bag. And once we have enough, we make veggie stock with them.
All right. I think I'll cut up this lemon. I think we're ready to go.
Alright, let's get cooking.
Alright, so we're going to get started. Now a lot of people add their non-stick spray or oil right now. I'm going to pass on that for right now. We're going to add our fat later. So you would think that this is going to stick to the bottom of the pan and it's going to be ruined forever, but you'd be surprised. Chicken will actually free itself after it's been cooking long enough. And this is called the Maillard reaction. And my understanding of that is the protein caramelizes, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't use the word caramelizes, but gets more sweet, almost like a sugar. Now mind you, I'm no biologist, but that was my takeaway from reading all these boards. So I'm going to let this sit for about 2 minutes, maybe 2 to 4 minutes. I have 4 chicken breasts in here, so it might take almost 4 minutes. Before I flip it.
What temperature do you have it on?
Yeah, so this is at medium-high. I might bump it up to a little bit closer to high. Now, do what you're comfortable with. The chicken's going to cook no matter what. If you're afraid to burn the chicken and get it stuck to the pan, feel free to spray it down with oil, use a lower temperature. This is just us trying to knock this recipe out real quick. Alright, so it's been long enough that I'm just going to peek so you can kind of see the first little bits of browning happening. If this is your first time ever, I'd be pretty darn happy with this. And I'd move on, I'd flip the chicken. For us, we kind of enjoy the challenge of making it very brown and just before it burns. Yep, so that's 2 minutes. And we'll just kind of watch this. You can see things are stuck to the pan, but you'll see how quickly it frees.
Something that we like to eat our fried rice concoctions with is cucumbers. We like to have them on the side as kind of a palate cleanser, just a little crunch snack. This time we don't have any. They didn't have any at the grocery store, unfortunately, but if you're looking for something to go along with it, I would recommend cucumbers.
Yeah, it's cool while your fried rice is going to be real hot.
Healthy, cheap. I think cucumbers are, what, 50, 60 cents a piece?
Yeah. Oh, so that looks real good. I'm real happy about that. So I'm going to just start flipping, especially the ones in the center right away.
Look at that.
That looks great. I'm glad I got this one on video. So the chicken actually frees much easier once it's cooked. That caramelization is my non-stick spray, really. And if you don't have the patience or you start freaking out, I'm unfortunately going to tell you that you might want to just stick it out, because if you try pulling it off after the first minute, it's just going to be stuck to the bottom of the pan. And you can see over here, because the pan, this is uneven, these aren't very cooked yet. So they're still trying to free themselves.
So people might be wondering, what about the brown crispies at the bottom of the pan? All that stuff that gets stuck to your pan that you hate cleaning up after? Michael, what's your secret about that?
We're going to go through that. We're going to turn that into more of that delicious brown bits, and it's going to get into your chicken. So we'll work on that. So if you're really into this Maillard reaction, my suggestion is to keep the amount of moisture down as much as possible. Water stops the Maillard reaction. You get this Maillard reaction when it's directly on the heat. So when you're barbecuing, you're getting that delicious, crispy, flavorful. The chicken really doesn't taste like anything unless you add salt, obviously, and get this kind of reaction, Maillard reaction going. The other thing I suggest is not touching it. Just don't touch it for as long as you can.
There's a certain amount of water in the chicken as it is, right? So that's the only issue.
Yeah, with 4 breasts, we definitely have some water in this pan. So the chicken on this side of the pan will likely just not get that brown color that this side, which is much more dry, has. So the other thing is, don't put a top on this pan. That'll just keep all the moisture inside. You can see it's airing out. Just saw one piece wasn't flipped. So this is really just browning. This is actually all going to be on the stovetop for a few more minutes after this. So we're going to check on it, see what, yeah, that looks real good. So I'm good. I'm going to just start moving the stuff around, and I'm going to show you. So you see those brown bits that are stuck? You got vinegar?
Yep.
So you can use vinegar, lime juice, lemon juice.
Need a little more?
Yep, looks like it might be out.
Yeah.
And just kind of scrape the bottom of the pan with it.
It's really nice to have 2 people when you're cooking. Very helpful to have an extra set of hands.
I'm going to use just a little bit more vinegar. Winged the amount of vinegar I use. I don't necessarily recommend doing that, especially if you've never used vinegar before.
Oh, non-stick cooking spray.
Yeah, so we're gonna throw our eggs in, cook those real quick, and then throw all the veggies in, and we'll be ready to eat.
It's a pretty quick recipe when you think about it. I would say the longest lead item is just cutting the ingredients up and maybe waiting for the Maillard reaction. What do you think?
Oh yeah. This could be thrown together real quick. We don't even have to do this egg stuff. We could do just chicken. We could do just eggs.
Sometimes we'll do chicken in the crock pot and just let it sit throughout the day, and then you have cold chicken you can throw into it, and you don't even have to worry about cutting anything up. We're always looking for the lazy way.
We should start calling it efficient.
Efficient,
yeah,
yes.
That's what we should start doing.
Switch to a spatula or continue?
So I turn the heat down just a little bit here. Eggs don't really need that Maillard reaction. They undergo with the same process, but I find I like my eggs fluffy, so I always try to keep the eggs moving around.
At this point, I usually switch to a spatula, but we do things a little different sometimes.
I'm alright with that. So one of the keys I've learned in cooking is just to add a lot of good tasting things. So we really like peanuts, so we'll add peanuts to things, and it almost always tastes good with that. What else do we like eating?
Peanuts have been my big thing recently.
We like fish sauce and oyster sauce, and we're going to be adding that in a minute.
Sugar goes good in everything.
Yeah. Well, we'll show those secrets. Should we add all of it?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Veggies are good.
Yeah, veggies are good.
That's like a 98-cent container.
Alright, so we talked about not putting the top on during that original portion. I think now is a good time. This will just get all the veggies in there cooked real quick. This is optional. It just takes a little bit longer if you don't have the top on. The top on will really keep the heat in, get it cooking real fast. So hon, what's next?
After this, we get to add the rice.
Add the rice, add the spices.
Yep, add our sauces and our spices, and then zhush it, and we'll be good to go.
Alright, you want to grab our spices?
Sure. Are you going to add lemon during cooking phase or after?
We'll add it during the cooking phase for style points.
Okay. You want to show the people our sauces in this?
Yeah, so this is fish sauce, and this is oyster sauce. A lot of people like putting soy sauce on things. If I'm going to go with soy sauce, I'll put like light sodium soy sauce. Regular soy sauce, it's just too salty. And I'm not... Okay, we got to wrap this up because we're low battery. So we're going to throw everything in now.
Rice?
Yep. The measuring spoons.
Yep. So we like to add about a tablespoon of the oyster sauce and 3 tablespoons of the fish sauce. And then as far as sugar goes, 2 tablespoons is probably a sufficient amount. I just like to sprinkle it in. I go a little crazy.
So sugar is one of those 5 things that taste good. Your body can actually sense these very simple carbohydrates. That's why flour tastes really good. That's why fried foods, that and just the amount of oil that they put in there. And oil is one of the other 5 things, so any sort of fats are very delicious. They feel really good on your mouth. So we're going to add just a little bit of butter as well.
I'm adding the lemon right now, by the way, as well. Getting 4 hands in here, moving quick.
So you can really get away with as much butter as you want. If she wasn't here and I was just enjoying myself, I might put an entire stick in. I mean, this is enough food for many, many meals, so I wouldn't feel too bad about that.
Alright, so he's stirring it up, trying to mix everything together.
And at this point, as soon as everything's mixed together, this is done. The vegetables are warmed up, chicken's completely cooked, eggs are completely cooked, and now everything just has to meld together. So.
Once it gets a little more melted, why don't you hold the pan up so that people can see? It's looking good.
Looks real good.
Wow.
The other 5 things, so out of the 5 things that taste good, alright, we talked about fats, we talked about sugar, salt, your body needs sodium to live, acids, so acids have the feeling of vitamin C, that's my understanding of it, and that vitamin C your body needs and tastes good. So when we added that vinegar, that's going to make the chicken get that flavor. The other one is glutamate, and glutamate's found in everything from seaweed, to use oyster sauce, tomatoes. It tastes like protein. So the body really likes that. Everyone knows MSG, that's one that also has glutamate in it. And your body really likes that, it tastes good.
Something we like to put on our fried rice is cayenne pepper if you want to add a little bit more kick to it. We put that on individually afterwards. Alright, how's it looking, hon? Think it's ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to pull this off the heat. You know, once the rice is on, there's no reason to really have any sort of high temperature heat. You're just really melding it together.
Alright, is it done? Should we hold it up nice and close? There it is.